What's going on, my homies? Jolt here from TheTokenMinorities, and I am back with my good pal Goldoa Dragon with our Week 3 team builder for the TBL. This week we're taking on the Texas Education Agency, coached by Rewt and Ultra Player. Make sure to go check them out. They'll be linked down in the description below. Also, big shout out to my man Tone for convincing me to do the my homies intro for you once again. But like I said, Goldoa's here. Go ahead and say hello.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to, hopefully, fingers crossed, a more normal week than last week.
Yeah.
That's really all I gotta have. That's really all I'm hoping for right now.
So last week was weird. I don't even know at this point if you've actually been able to watch the battle that happened. I'm going to assume that you probably haven't, and that's because it was very, very rough from an audio standpoint. And from a timing standpoint, during the actual game, we really need to work on our time management in our games, and hopefully we'll be able to improve on that here moving forward. But yeah, we should have at least been able to get something out for you guys so you kind of know what happened. But yeah, we're gonna try to pick that up here this week, and hopefully we'll be able to get a nice W in our game against the Texas Education Agency. So anyway. Let's go ahead and kind of look at what they have on the team.
So they have a Heliolisk, Rapidash, Jirachi, Kyurem, Obstagoon, Rotom Fan, Sylveon, Weezing, Delmise, Gastrodon, and the Shuckle to round out the team. So first impressions, obviously, once again, Salazzle looking like the fastest mon on the field, and this time we're not really facing down Webb's pressure, which is really nice from the team building perspective. So it'll help us figure out maybe what we think their Scarfer is going to be and stuff like that to try to get past that Salazzle and maybe even the Terrakion, since that is one of the other fastest mons available to either team. Nice to have Hydreigon outspeeding Kyurem by a couple points. That is just like a little bit of a bonus for us, forcing them to deal with the fact that our Hydreigon is slightly faster. And then it's interesting because they have really fast offensive mons and then slow bulky mons. There's no alternative to that. They have no slow offensive pressure, really. I mean, maybe Sylveon, and they really don't seem to have the like faster and bulk that like Terrakion can offer, for instance.
Yeah. One thing to note, I think Shuckle gets sticky web still, right? So they do actually have.
Oh, it does get webs. You're right.
They actually do have that as an option for their team, which makes Kyurem a little bit more threatening. I think Kyurem was their round 1 pick, if I remember correctly. If not Jirachi, one or the other was their round 1 pick. And yeah, like Kyurem got a lot of new toys this generation that yeah, it didn't have in the past. Like Dragon Dance, for example, gets physical Ice Stab, Icicle Spear, I believe, is the primary
Spear, yeah.
one. Yeah, so it has some pretty threatening options that we have to consider, and we don't really have that many ice resists. I guess we have a couple ice resists on our team that are decent in Salazzle and the Copper job, but I still think Kyurem's going to be a pretty big threat for us to deal with. But I do think their team
does also get freeze dry or power.
Yeah, so freeze dry as well. That's pretty scary. Seismitoad otherwise used to be a decent response to Kyurem, but not if it gets freeze dry now. But yeah, like I feel like just kind of initial thoughts looking at their team, they don't really have a lot of breaking power on their team, in my opinion. Like Obstagoon is a pretty good physical breaker, but it's also relatively predictable in what it wants to do. Like normally it's going to be throwing out normal moves and dark moves and, you know, potentially parting shot or something to get momentum. And then Kyurem is obviously a breaker, and then the only other thing on their team that can be a breaker is going to be the Delmise, which is pretty slow, so it's typically not a huge issue to deal with from a breaking perspective. So I think that their team is going to struggle a little bit to take down some of our fatter mons if we decide to take that kind of route, or if we just want to run like a little bit more like bulkier spreads on our offensive mons, we might be able to survive some pretty crucial hits. So that's just kind of my gut instinct thought, I guess, looking at the draft that they have here. But one thing that Goldoa and I have already kind of talked about before we jump into the video, and I know that's kind of cheating because we said we wanted to do pretty much all of this in live for you guys, but we really think Noctowl is a bring this week, so Noctowl is going to be on the team. We're not sure exactly what set yet that we want to do, but kind of a fatter offensive Noctowl is something that we think can do a good chunk of damage against their team, because I mean there's nothing that really wants to switch into the dual stabs, especially with Tinted Lens now. So Noctowl is probably going to be a thing here.
Yeah, and honestly, Noctowl, the problem with it for the past couple weeks, the only real reason we weren't able to justify bringing it is because their ghost types were able to sort of shut it down, and the past couple teams have had ghost types that have just been good against Noctowl specifically. But Delmise happens to not be a very good response to normal spam if we wanted to go that route. And Jolt and I have disagreed about this for the 2 minutes that we talked about it prior to recording, as far as what is its most spammable move in this matchup, with him saying Hyper Voice is super spammable, and I myself going with the Hurricane or Air Slash side of things being way more spammable. Either way, Jirachi's getting 2-hit KO'd, which is absolutely fantastic, and it doesn't even need any other coverage besides the stabs in order to 2-hit KO everything on his team after it clicks Nasty Plot. And so we did come to the consensus that we want to see a Nasty Plot Noctowl hit the field and do some work.
Or specs. I think we're still kind of thinking about a specs set. Maybe. I think it depends on what the rest of the team...
Are you still considering specs? I tried to even build about specs first, but
I'm only considering it from the standpoint of, like, if we don't have other, like, immediate breakers on the team, which is kind of unlikely considering the mons we have access to, but if we don't have other immediate breakers on the team, then the specs Noctowl might be something that we need just to pretty much force them into their fat mons, like, right away to take a hit. Or potentially just like force immediate sacks instead of giving them a chance to do whatever to us on our setup turn. So yeah, we'll just have to see kind of what the rest of the team ends up looking like for that. So, but yeah, still Noctowl I think is going to be a good bring. But
so I'm looking at our team with Hydreigon, Toad, Noctowl, Ludicolo. It seems like Kyurem is going to be incentivized to go special with Freeze Dry, Earth Power, Draco, as opposed to physical with Dragon Dance.
I agree.
That would be my expectation, just because Freeze Dry does offer them a lot more utility from that Kyurem slot than physical does.
Yeah, all they need is Freeze Dry, Earth Power
against our team specifically, especially Toad and Ludicolo.
I could see Subaroost Freeze Dry, Earth Power.
Yeah, so we definitely got to play around that.
Girder looks pretty nice for that.
I think Terrakion pressures that Kyurem a lot.
Girder looks nice to switch into that Kyurem. Terrakion offensively.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I was going to say is Girder, Obstagoon, Kyurem, Heliolisk all don't appreciate seeing a Girder.
I think Terrakion... Ooh, Terrakion pressures a lot. I think Terrakion almost forces Weezing to come.
By itself, yeah.
Because, like, I mean, you could try to lean on Sylveon for that, but Sylveon also is going to be needed.
Not with potential Poison Jab.
I mean, yeah, that's true. And still, even, like, Stone Edge, Sylveon doesn't really appreciate either. So I feel like Weezing is pretty much going to be forced to come to help out against Terrakion. So that's good info to have.
Yeah, Delmise does the job also. Not as well, but it does the job. So it's something to consider.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's
I think, honestly, another mon that looks pretty good here with just dual stabs is Gardevoir, with basically only Jirachi.
Jirachi's the only response.
Being a switch into dual stabs of Psyshock and Moonblast.
I think we can do some fun stuff with Gardevoir here.
Sorry, I think I missed each other.
What's up?
And it does have slow teleport if we do want to go that route, which can give us safer switches into other things.
This is where it'd be really nice to have...
That is a riskier route because things like the Weezing.
This is where it'd be really nice to have, like, Pursuit as a move in this game, because I feel like teleport Gardevoir and do a Pursuit Trapper for Jirachi could be super nice.
There's no Pursuit, though.
I know. It'd be nice to have it. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, you were just saying that's where you wish there was Pursuit.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so they do have Flash Fire and Rapidash, so we can't just spam fire moves against Jirachi. So that's something to consider as well from Salazzle's perspective.
Still Rapidash.
I like Salazzle as far as its speed stat, but I don't... I mean, that's true. It is still a Rapidash.
It only is really stopped by Gastro.
But it gets stopped.
Yeah, it's like hard stopped. Outside of like a toxic set, and Sylveon could easily be heal bell. So, I mean, maybe there's something we can do with that yet. Like we could do kind of similar to our week 1 set if we really wanted to. We could just run like flamethrower and then like toxic stall, something. But maybe we don't necessarily have to bring Salazzle either. I don't know if it's essential here. Outside of being a check.
Yeah, no, I think our best mons are Terrakion and Noctowl and Girder.
I'd say Terrakion definitely. Girder maybe not. I think Girder can be good though. If we bring Girder and Terrakion though, I'm really gonna want to have our fairy resists. Which would be like a Copper, which Copper looks pretty okay. It's not gonna really break anything, but it can threaten Gastro with Power Whip, and we can still
but it doesn't
like EQ and steal coverage and hit everything.
That hits everything.
Except Rotom Fan. Like, it hits everything else.
Except for Rotom.
Yeah.
Yeah. But... do we have a switch into Rotom?
Yeah, we have Toad. Toad's like a free switch in. And Toad switches into Rapidash if that becomes something that we're concerned about. It's going to help against Obstagoon. It's going to help against Gastro, Sylveon, if it needs to. Like, Toad is pretty good. I feel like Toad Copper is a pretty good defensive combo.
Yeah, they won't have any stab if they don't bring Delmise, but Toad also... well, I guess Kyurem would be the super effective stab there for Toad.
Right, yeah. I think we should just expect Freeze Dry. I think it's going to be coming.
So that leaves us with 2 spots. One might be taken by Girder.
Yeah. Thinking like Hydreigon doesn't even look amazing, but
so we haven't really looked at...
What haven't we looked at?
I was gonna say we haven't looked at Masharna in any match yet. Like, we haven't even looked at it.
Well, it's mostly for fighting types that give us trouble, right? That was the main reason for it. And there's none to be seen here. So I don't think it's really a need.
But they don't... That's fair. It can stop Jirachi.
It kind of...
We don't have any, like, inner focus or anything.
We can run Rocky Helmets, though, if we're worried about that.
Rotom can stop Jirachi as well.
Technically, yeah. I don't really like Rotom here.
Since Iron Head would do, like, nothing. I don't think Rotom's bad in this matchup. I just don't think it's not great. Doesn't really pressure them offensively.
Yeah.
It'd have to be a support set.
What do you think about like a Dragon Dance?
So I mean, okay, we've eliminated Rotom, Musharna. I'm not looking at Ludi.
What about like a Dragon
Sorry,
Dance? Dragon Dance Hydra, because that can pressure Sylveon and literally everything. It looks like we can set up on a lot of mons.
Too bad we can't use the Belch. So Dragon Dance with like Iron Tail?
Yeah, Dragon Dance Iron Tail, and then we have Crunch, right? So Crunch, Iron Tail,
Earthquake.
Earthquake covers everything.
Yeah, except the Castro. But that's...
I mean, we can weaken that. I kind of like that concept.
That has to do a lot of work.
It's more of a breaker than anything. And we could run like a boosting item on it too. I just see a lot of things we can set up on.
Sure, I'm into it.
So that would leave 1 slot. And we have only 1 of our fairy resist. So I'm thinking like the mons that are going to be forced out. Hydreigon might be forced out by Sylveon potentially. But Iron Tail would help with that, obviously. They might be Berry, but still. Terrakion's going to be
They can run Mystical Fire. So.
Right. Yes, they can. That's good to remember.
I mean, Gardevoir, it's not a fairy resist. but it's
It definitely can help against
got
them.
high enough special defense to take Sylveon.
So if we bring guard, we're going to be weaker to Jirachi, and I mean we have Toad, we have Hydra.
Do you think a defensive Salazzle?
Not necessarily, but it wouldn't be that bad. I like that it outspeeds everything. I'm also thinking like a revenge killer.
I mean, honestly, I feel like a defensive Salazzle stops the things we're most worried about. Sorry, I missed what you said there.
I'm just thinking Rachi Sylveon. Yeah, defensive. Yeah, I mean maybe.
It's like max HP, max speed, or not max speed, but like
either that.
Much speed.
Yeah, if we're thinking probably like a Breaker Terrakion, a DD Hydreigon, and then maybe like a setup Noctowl, and then our Wall Core. I think we want something fast. I think we need something that's like a Revenger.
Salazzle, yeah.
We need a Revenger. So I'm wondering if we want to
Salazzle
go
also is a
Scarf Guard or Salazzle. I think
Scarf
is what
Guard
we want. Yeah, I think one of those two would round out the
I
team.
don't think
best.
Scarf Guard can do enough here. Because it gets pigeonholed into using an attack, and then they have a switch in for it.
This is Jirachi. I mean, the other option...
Because Jirachi will always stop it from using stabs. If it goes for like a Mystical Fire to try to hit that, then they have like Sylveon can come in basically for free, or Weezing, without worrying too much. Once they know we're Scarfed, or Gastro.
Concept of
right. So if you're gonna use Guard, it has to not be Scarfed.
Right. The concept of Taunt Wisp Guard seems really nice to me too. We could be Taunt Wisp, Moonblast.
I mean, I like it. I like either, whichever mon we bring. I think defensive is better than Scarf.
Yes, I agree. And even
unless we go like Scarf Destiny Bond Gardevoir, which would be a power play.
I mean, it's an option. What do you think about Scarf Tarak here? It would revenge a DD Kyurem.
I think it does a lot of work. I mean, except for like Delmise and Weezing. Like, what wants to take a CC, basically? Sylveon, I guess. Those three.
So I'm thinking if we ran like a...
But they don't... Because, I mean, I feel like just running it like SD... I mean, double dance with stabs could win the game.
Yeah, it can. It definitely can. I'm not sure if we'd ever get up both dances though, but we could have both options available.
There's a decent chance we could get off both dances depending on what they want their switch into it to be. Because they could easily say, okay, I'm gonna concede Weezing right on the first turn. They just go into Weezing as we, let's say, Rock Polish.
What about double dance?
And then we just Swords Dance with a Lumberry.
Yep, we're on the same page.
Yeah.
I like it.
And then Weezing doesn't actually beat us, and then we just win the game.
I like that a lot. Okay, so double dance Lum Tarak. If we're doing that, do we still want to go DD Hydreigon? I don't see.
Although we still may not even kill Weezing. But like,
actually, Hydreigon gets taunt, right? So taunt DD Hydreigon.
Does it?
I think so. I think Breaker Hydreigon's a thing, or like a Stall Breaker Hydreigon. I think it does. So if we ran taunt DD 2 attacks Hydreigon, like Crunch plus EQ would cover everything, or Crunch plus Iron Tail covers everything too. So if we ran, taunt DD Hydreigon, that would beat everything, and would keep a lot of their mons at bay. So I'm thinking like a Breaker combo, a Double Dance Tarak plus DD Hydreigon on the physical side. Noctowl helps break through the special with specs.
Okay.
I'm kind of thinking back to specs. I don't think we want all of our mons to have to set up. So
like specs here? All right.
I like
right.
Specs better in that case. Yeah.
I mean, Specs was my idea.
So I mean, there you go. There you go. We got something. So okay,
I didn't.
DD.
I didn't mind the Wakanberry play, but
Taunt, DD, Iron Tail, Crunch, Hydreigon, and then Specs, Noctowl, Toad, Copper, and then we still have a slot. I think that slot needs to be a Revenger though, so it can be either Salazzle, which is walled by Gastro, but Gastro should be pressured by Tarak, Hydreigon. Yeah, I would think. Maybe not. It could be Taunt, Toxic, Dual Stab.
it may not be. I mean, it may not be as much as we want it to be.
What about just like Taunt, Toxic, Dual Stab, Salazzle with Bulk?
Yeah, it's fine. It does what it needs to do.
I like Taunt a lot in this
That speeds
matchup.
everything.
I really like Taunt because they don't have a lot of breakers. They kind of need to.
Yeah.
We have no removal. Yep. I mean,
If they do
Noctowl.
try-
If we're Specs,
Yeah,
Noctowl can have last move defog. Right?
Okay. So
Yeah.
like, would you run Hurricane, Hyper Voice, Moonblast?
Maybe Air Slash.
Default? Don't even give it Moonblast. Who needs anything but stabs?
Yeah, I mean, they don't switch into the stabs. So like, I'm kind of thinking that. Yeah. Specs with defog
Okay.
and stabs. Copper and Toad are fat, and then Salazzle, Taunt, Toxic, dual stab with bulk. And then that's going to help out against pretty much everything. Yeah, why not?
And we can get rocks up. They do have a huge rock weakness.
Yeah, they don't appreciate rocks at all. I mean, I think that can work.
Do they have a spinner?
Yeah, they have Delmise. This team pressures
Delmise,
Delmise
okay.
a ton. Like, Delmise hates this team. Outside of Toad.
Yeah. So we should have a Copper be our rocker then, so that Toad doesn't have to.
Yes, yes.
Delmise can't easily switch into it.
Yep, and I'm good with that too. I think Toad can be plenty effective without...
Knock.
Yeah.
Toxic.
Yep. I'm gonna go ahead and move over to the team. I think
Called.
we can start putting stuff together. So we got Hydreigon,
Okay.
Seismitoad, Copper, and Tarak. Noctowl, the goat, with Tinted Lens. Wow,
It's coming.
I've never put a Noctowl
It's
on
here.
a team builder before.
I just wanted to.
This is the first time. The first time.
I just wanna see this
Noctowl's
thing do
ever
work.
been on a team builder of mine.
I'm gonna breed a Noctowl in the game. Not necessarily this Noctowl, although maybe this Noctowl. I don't have a lot of time. That's the problem.
Breeding takes a long time.
Maybe I'll take this Noctowl that I gen in, and I'll just breed so I have a baby who's Tinted Lens, and then I'll breed my own Noctowl.
Ooh, we could hyper. Want to
I think it does work.
We could hyper beam with Noctowl if we really want to go
Something will die.
in. Something's gonna die.
Choice specs. Choice specs. Hyper beam.
Ooh, we could
Do a
Venoshock.
Sylveon.
What do you think about Venoshock with Salazzle? Taunt Toxic. Eh.
If they're not especially defensive Sylveon, they get two-shotted by Hyper Beam. Just like straight up. And Hyper Voice from a offensive Salazzle, if we just run like max HP, does not 2-hit KO Noctowl.
From offensive Sylveon, you mean?
Yeah. That's what I meant.
That's awesome. What do you think about Venoshock?
Modest,
What do you think about
max
Venoshock?
special attack, hyper. What do I think about it?
Yeah, Venoshock. So
situational.
Yes. So quite. But what I'm thinking is it is very possible that their switch-ins to Salazzle are, if not Gastro, or it's going to be Gastro or Kyurem, I think, right? So we can Toxic either of those on switch-in.
Okay.
Venoshock will then do more damage to Gastrodon later if it needs to, or it'll do more damage to Kyurem, which otherwise kind of takes nothing from our stabs if it's like a Roost set. So Venoshock would be good to hit both of those, and I think we're going to be clicking Toxic first anyway.
Sure, I'm into it.
I think
Why
the
not?
only mon that we want to
Bring in a
raw...
Noctowl.
You're right. The only mon we're going to want to raw go for poison moves against is Sylveon, and we can just Toxic on that switch too. So, yeah, because Sylveon has no business staying out. I think it could work. So Noctowl, choice specs. We're doing it. Lumberry on Terrakion, we said. Hydreigon, I don't really know what we want to do. Could be lefties.
Do we care about outspeeding Rapidash with Tarak, or do we want to like outspeed just Jirachi?
I don't care to outspeed Rapidash. They're not bringing Rapidash. We have a Seismitoad. It doesn't get any new like grass moves
Does
or
it not
something,
get
does it?
Solar Beam?
Huh?
I'm sure it gets Solar Beam. I'm sure it gets Solar Beam.
Yeah, it gets Solar Beam at least. Jirachi.
It's not Ninetales that has.
Jirachi probably could run close to max. So I could do...
To outspeed Hydreigon.
Yeah, I'll just go 330 on Tarak. Lumberry, so yeah, I have 64 HP, 252 attack, and 192 plus speed Tarak.
That hits 329.
It's 330. Doesn't get 29, unfortunately.
Okay.
So Noctowl, we want speed, maybe just like a little speed to catch Sylveon creeping something.
I mean, is Sylveon going to try to creep Noctowl? I guess it would have to creep it creeping Seismitoad, right? And that's a lot of speed for Sylveon.
We shouldn't really.
They're not going to creep for Noctowl, and I doubt they'll do it.
I think we should run at least a little speed, but like we don't need much. Maybe we could just do like 40, just kind of a blanket creep.
Okay, what number does that hit?
40 hits 186.
That's arbitrary. Sure.
I mean, so like otherwise, what are they gonna try to hit? Like it'd be Toad, right? I guess, which is 184. Wow, that's actually perfect.
Yeah.
So that creeps something creeping a mid-speed Toad. Nice. So
okay.
like,
wow.
that yeah. Okay, cool.
Right
so
Noctowl and you have a connection.
I'm meant to use this mod. I feel like we have to make it shiny.
I'm in.
I'm definitely doing it. Okay, so Noctowl, I mean, I have Hurricane, Hyper Voice, Air Slash, Defog, Specs, Tented Lens. Just smack stuff.
Yep.
Salazzle, I imagine we want Black Sludge again, or do we want to go Boots?
Unless we're worried specifically about Shuckle's webs, I would go Black Sludge.
They don't have like spikes or anything. How many rockers do they have? Just Rachi?
Hit
And
Jirachi.
Shuckle. Shuckle might come just for hazards.
Jirachi. I mean, if we see a Shuckle at Team Preview, we could just lead with like Hydreigon.
That's true.
How much does Noctowl do to Shuckle?
It could easily be Mental Herb though. Probably doesn't do that much to Shuckle, if I had to guess.
Hurricane. Respect Hurricane does almost 50. It does. There's a 10.5% chance that it 2 KOs. So there's that.
I like to hear that.
Hyper Voice does a little bit less. Which is sort of surprising, given that it's the resisted move, but...
Yeah, I think if we're
Beartics
going
is real strong.
bulkier Salazzle, I think Black Sludge is probably the move. I'm just worried about like a Calm Mind Jirachi with Sticky Web up. Because I think that can just win. Actually,
How
yeah,
does that
like,
break?
we don't have sub or protect.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't outright, but like, just based on how we've played those mons this season, those kind of get damaged early because we kind of scramble to switch into stuff.
What about something like, I guess, Calm Mind, it doesn't beat, but Copper Object could get Whirlwind.
No, we could throw that on there. But it's going to be a rocker. I think we wanted those 3 coverage moves, right? We wanted Steel, Ground, and Grass. And then Rocks. Actually, Rachi's not really setting up on anything outside of Noctowl, I guess.
Rachi's not setting up on Noctowl. Oh. For
You're
two
right.
reasons.
You're right. It's Noctowl. That's the only reason we need.
Fine. It's Noctowl to Hyper Voice, so
Yeah.
if it sets up a sub, we say thank you for the free 25%, have 65 more. Because Hyper Voice will 2-hit KO even a max HP Jirachi after a sub. For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and I guess if we have to sack Noctowl in order to defog, we can. I guess I'm good with Black Sledge, I think, if you are.
Yeah, I'm fine with Black Sledge.
I think it is probably going to be okay.
I mean, the thing is, if we throw Whirlwind on Copper, we don't really need the grass coverage as much, because if Gastro comes in, we just say bye.
But I
Take
think
more
we
rocks
need
damage next time.
need ways to get rid of it, though. Like, we don't have ways to automatically get rid of it.
I mean, if we're assuming Gastron has to switch into Salazzle, more or less,
Yeah.
then it's going to get toxic. And then if it switches into rocks over and over and over on the Copper,
I mean, it can recover, though. You can recover, and Sylveon can heal Bell. I feel like we need grass coverage on something.
that's fine. Copper is the place to put it. It's the only one that really gets it.
Toad gets grass now, but it won't do it. Toad gets Power Whip, actually. Oh, actually, that's even better.
Do you want to run a physical?
Actually, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, Power Whip on Toad makes a lot of sense. Okay, okay, I like this. So we can go Iron Head and EQ on Copper, Stealth Rock, Whirlwind. That makes a lot of sense. And then, yeah, yep. Okay. And then what other coverage do we need on Toad?
Knock off Power Whip Scald? Are we doing like an AV Toad?
Can be. I don't think it needs to be AV necessarily.
Then you could run like Sludge Bomb. Or Poison Jab, depending on whether we're going physical or special.
Does it get better, like, physical water moves now? It gets Liquidation.
Liquidation?
Okay, I'm thinking,
Sure
like...
it gets Liquidation?
Yeah, it gets Liquidation. It can be, like a fighting move could be nice for Kyurem as well. Just so that's not a free switch. Or just Earthquake. Earthquake should do the same amount.
Break or Drain Punch or Low Kick.
Oh yeah, why don't we just do that? We can do Power Whip, Knockoff, Liquidation, EQ.
No Poison Jab?
Poison Jab's going to do the same. It's going to be base 150, and Earthquake is also base 150. Or is P-Jab base 160?
Wait, Poison Jab would be base 160.
Yeah, so base
I don't know if
160
that
to
damage is
Sylveon.
going to end up mattering.
And it's like 10 base power. I'd rather have stabs, I think.
Are we going to invest or are we invested?
I think, well, it depends on what we do.
It does one more.
Do you think they run
But they're
physical?
both guaranteed.
I think they run physical Jirachi.
I think it's more likely than special. Unless they really want to spam Moonblast.
I feel like we should have a helmet on Toad then.
But I feel like Ironhead looked the field fairly free.
I kind of think it does too. So let's
Actually, no.
I mean, outside Copper and Toad are the ones that can just switch into Ironheads.
Yeah, but Rotom could if we were bringing it too. Salazzle doesn't take anything from an Ironhead. Ludicolo doesn't take anything from an Ironhead.
So maybe Special's more likely?
Exactly, Special does seem more likely.
I'm just wondering if we want to have some, because we don't have any Scarfers. Nothing's going to outspeed a Scarfrachi.
Double Dance Tracheon does.
Right.
And DD Hydreigon can get to +2 potentially. Unless they're going to be ballsy as hell and go straight into Jirachi on the first Dragon Dance.
Not happening. Okay, so what other mons would a Rocky Helmet be good for on their team?
Obstagoon, sort of.
I wouldn't mind that on Toad.
Delmise, but you don't want to stay in on that.
No. I mean, if that's the case, Copper should be the Rocky Helmet user, not Toad, if it's going to be for Obstagoon too.
I mean, it's only Obstagoon. Everything else is basically special.
Yeah. So maybe it's not necessary. If we just have lefties on Toad and Copper, they'll both be able to survive the Iron Hit onslaught if they have
I mean, AV Toad with that moveset could easily do work.
AV would be good for, like, can we take a
You
freeze
could run
drive?
Drain.
Yeah, actually, that's what I would do if we had that. Probably. Not necessarily.
Not if they're specs.
AV Toad will help against Rotom, Sylveon.
If you run a specially defensive set with AV, we certainly can take a freeze dry.
I'd rather run offensive investment if we're running AV.
What?
I said I'd rather run offensive investment if we're running AV.
So as long as they're not spec. Okay, well, the minimum requirement to guarantee survive a freeze dry with AV would be 88, 252 HP, 88 SPDF. And that's a timid freeze dry with no boosting item.
I mean, they could easily be modest and easily be boosting. Yeah, I don't think that's worth it, but taking hits from Sylveon, Rachi, Yachi would be interesting. We don't really do a lot back to it though. Like, this isn't really the response.
Well, that's the thing, is you could run Drain. If you're gonna run AV or something like that, you'd run Drain Punch somewhere on there.
But EQ is the same damage as Drain Punch. I mean, recovery is nice, but EQ hits Rachi super effectively. Do we need liquidation? Not really. Oh yeah, liquidation
hits Rapidash.
Yeah, okay. So liquidation goes for Drain Punch. That was easy.
Because Drain Punch also gets the Obstagoon if needed in a pinch.
Yeah. So I like AV
and the
at
Heliolisk.
that point. I like AV.
I mean, EQ.
So, okay. I mean, we can run a little speed on this too, just to outspeed Sylveon, I guess. If it tries to creep. Maybe just 40 creep that too. And then... I mean, right now, I just have, like, an Adamant Toad. 248 HP. Do we want to optimize that a little better?
So again, in order to guarantee survive a freeze dry, you'd need 88 SPDF.
But it's non-boosted.
No, yeah, still could be Adamant.
Well, I meant the freeze dry itself.
And then the What?
The
Oh
freeze
yeah,
dry
that's
itself.
still timid non-boosted. So are you saying concede that and don't put the SPDF in?
Not necessarily, because we have knockoff. Sorry, I was thinking. Like, we have knockoffs that we can... Or a knockoff, I guess, that we can click. I think that's okay. Because then if they're not freeze dry for whatever reason, too, we'll take hits a little better. And this allows us to take hits from just other threats. We don't necessarily need max. I mean, the other benchmark we could try to hit would be 2 specs Hyper Voices from Sylveon. How much bulk would we need for that?
As the designated calculator, I will do my best.
Or alternatively, we could look at Grass Knot from Helio.
So max special attack, modest specs, pixelate, Sylveon, Hyper Voice. In order to guaranteed survive 2, would require 248 HP and 192 SPDF. That might be a little bit high. Grass Knot from Salazzle would require...
Helio.
That's what I meant. Keep saying Salazzle for every mon. Would require 248 HP and 92 SPDF, so put 4 more into it.
That I can do.
That's timid, but I'm going to assume they're timid.
Is that after rocks?
That's actually timid specs Heliolisk to survive that.
Okay. After rocks or no?
No.
Throw in rocks real quick.
Do you want me to do modest specs or just keep it timid?
Timid specs is fine. Just after rocks.
That would require 156 SPDF.
I'm doing that. That should be optimal still.
And then that leaves us with... Wouldn't optimal be 156 HP and 248 SPDF? Or less, potentially?
Well, I still think... Well, physical bulk is something we still want, right?
By 1.5. So you want more SPDF.
But we still... I mean, I hear you, but we also have physical hits that we're dealing with, like Rachi's Iron Head spam, or hits from Rapidash, Obstagoon. Like, I think we want the HP.
What is the attack stat that you put in?
64. 266 is what I've hit. 64
okay.
plus.
Yeah, so Drain Punch doesn't quite OHKO the Heliolisk, but EQ would.
Yeah.
So.
So I mean, if we did, so to hit that same calc, what do we do? Like, if we wanted to go max SPDF with just HP, what do we hit for the same calc?
What?
So the calc of Helio, specs Helio after rocks, right? If we wanted to go max SPDF and then just whatever HP is needed, what do we hit?
To survive that OHKO after rocks. So timid specs, Heliolisk, Grass Knot. If we're max SPDF but stay adamant, then we need 252 SPDF and 100 HP.
So that would be better than to do this.
Well, because every point of SPDF you get when you use an Assault Vest is 1.5 points.
Yeah.
Stat.
So then the better move, this has actually become a pretty complicated spread. So then 100 HP, 252 SPDF, and then I have 52 defense left over. If we want to do that. Or like whatever we want to do for our attack stat. I'm just thinking that... Yeah, you're right, because it's better to invest in the specific defenses on Toad because of the base stats too.
Yeah.
Now the question is exactly how much attack do we want? How much do we need for Drain Punch to knock out Helio?
I'm not sure if that's going to be feasible here to guarantee the knockout.
Okay. Even like after rocks?
252 adamant like hits it barely.
Okay, well, never mind.
In order to guarantee it, we're looking at like 200 adamant, and that's if it's completely uninvested.
Okay.
But EQ will knock it out no matter what.
Okay. Well, that's good enough. I'm just wondering how much bulk we want to put in this thing on the defensive side, or if we want to like just throw it all into our attack instead of extra defense.
We're never living a power whip from Edelweiss.
So I mean, okay, the physical calc we care about then is Obstagoon. Is that it?
Maybe a free Icicle Spear from a Kyurem in case.
Yeah. I mean, Obstagoon's going to hit harder, though.
What? How many? We have 52 left.
We have 116 total, and our nature, technically, to work with.
If you don't include the attack.
Well, the attack was arbitrary yet.
Okay.
We just
So,
have
in order to
116.
guarantee survive an Adamant Guts boosted Facade, we can do 100 HP and 124 defense, which is a little too high. We could go Impish to take that calc a little down. And that's not a guarantee after rocks.
With Impish, is it?
We had 116 remaining.
Yep.
Yeah, with Impish, 116 defense will survive a Guts boosted Facade after rocks.
Is that specifically what we need, 116?
No, we actually need less than that.
I'm okay doing that, whatever it is.
Technically, it's 96.
Okay, so then we still have 20 EVs in attack.
Hold on, I might have actually miscalculated rocks on this for Heliolisk. We might be able to run a little bit less bulk, a little less HP. Yeah, so it's actually only need 84 with 252 special defense.
Okay, and then how much defense do we need for the Obstagoon calc then?
And then we need 108. So,
Save
do we
a
save
little
it?
bit. Yeah, we save 8. 4.
Aha.
We save 4.
Save 4.
Okay. Okay, seems good. Yeah, let's move on from that. I don't know what our time is on the video right now, but we might be getting closer after that. So
We have left, so.
lefties, Kaparaja. Again, that's another complicated spread probably because of split defenses, but probably needs to be more on the Spadef side to help out against Jirachi. But also on the physical side to help out against Obstagoon.
It's not going to appreciate a close combat from Obstagoon.
No, it's not, but it'd be good if we could take one.
Not sure how you're going to feel about doing it after, like, you may not live it after rocks.
Really?
Well, I mean, it can. So 248 HP, 116 defense, impish nature,
248 HP.
116 defense with an impish nature. Guarantees we live one close combat after rocks.
Let's back that up. Let's go 252 HP impish. How much HP? Or 252 defense impish. How much HP do I need?
Zero.
Really? So let's back that off even further. How much defense do I need, impish? No HP.
You don't need any. 252 defense impish survives a close combat. Survives an adamant guts boosted close combat.
Is that like exactly what I need, or can I take any off?
You can't take off impish. You can be 248 and still survive.
Is that actually it? Is that the max?
Yeah, that's the calc.
All right, well, that's really good. On Copper, you really don't even need HP investment because there's such a big difference between the base defenses and the HP stat. So, okay, then we're looking at the Spadef stat. Is there anything in particular we need to take?
What are we switching it in on?
I mean, it can help against Kyurem. I think Kyurem's the big one.
Power?
Yeah, Earth Power from Kyurem is the big one.
Okay. Guess let's go back. Let's work backwards and say you need to be 216 to live a Specs Timid Earth Power after
rocks. 216, huh?
Yeah.
And then I could run 44 attack if that's the move. What about like hits from Heliolisk? Can we take a couple T-bolts with that?
Not if it's specs and rocks.
What about Life Orb?
45.7% chance to a KO after Stealth Rock and Leftovers Recovery.
What if I made that 252 then?
Spadef.
Yep.
10.5% chance to a KO after rocks and Leftovers Recovery.
What was the percent?
10.5.
I like it. Then I will do, I guess, 8 attack to go along with it.
We also body it with an Earthquake.
Very nice. I don't even know if the 8 attack is gonna do anything, but like it's fine.
You could run it in HP if you wanted.
I mean, might as well, right?
What does that reduce it to? Now there's only a 9% chance to a KO
Nice.
after rocks and Leftovers Recovery.
Excellent.
This is exactly what we wanted.
Okay, that's, I mean, easy enough then. So, okay, Toad done, Copper done, Tarak done, Noctowl done. We need EVs on Salazzle, so Salazzle's going to creep down to Helio, which is 348, right?
Needs 340.
And we agreed that we wanted bulk on this.
Yeah.
We have 68 EVs left after max HP.
Are we doing more calcs? I'm really into this, dude.
I'm thinking Spadef because Sylveon Raji.
So you said 252 HP. I don't care about the speed or anything. Just 68.
I'm thinking 68 Spadef.
And then a calm nature? Or
timid. We have to be timid still.
Yeah. You aren't living 2 Thunderbolts from Life Orb Heliolisk, but you... Oh god, I have to sneeze real bad. Excuse me. You... No.
I think this mostly will be switching into predicted non-psychic moves. And
yeah. We have almost guaranteed a 4 KO from Specs Pixelate Hyper Voice.
I like to hear that.
Although Psyshock is still a problem, but
yeah, we have to play around that. But we have stuff that can. We have Copper and Hydreigon and Mons that can deal with it. Even Toad's going to be able to switch into this stuff pretty well. Yeah, I don't really think we need necessarily a bunch of offensive investment on this as long as we can take these hits. I wouldn't mind having the offensive investment. I don't know if we really need the Spadef. Like, why not invest in the offense?
yeah, I don't think the Spadef's actually gonna help.
Yeah, alright. I'm just going to drop it in special attack. Okay, so then last mon is the Hydreigon, and we're closing in on an hour, so this is just about perfect. Taunt, DD, Crunch, and Iron Tail is what I have right now. I'm thinking E-Belt.
Ooh, I like that.
I'm thinking E-Belt covers a lot, and that's going to allow us to do more damage to all of their biggest threats. So I think it makes a lot of sense.
I'm into it. As long as you land your Iron Tails.
No comment. So I need speed for Kyurem, so 318.
Yeah. Which also outspeeds a modest Heliolisk, forces them to run timid. That's good. It's just a happy accident.
And then 24 attack, or 24 HP, 252 attack, and 232 speed is what I got. Jolly.
Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah. So game plan, what are we trying to win with? Terrakion?
I mean, yeah, that's the late game cleaner.
Yeah, I think so too.
Hydreigon can set up in the mid game, which means that the early game is mostly going to be played around
Toad,
Noctowl
Copper, and Noctowl. Yeah, we want Noctowl to break stuff. Really Salazzle. Okay, so Salazzle, Toad, and Copper kind of pivot into Mons as much as we need, and they should be able to help chip stuff down, get the rocks on the field, hopefully we'll be able to get Noctowl in, and what would really be nice is if Noctowl is able to punish the Sylveon for trying to switch in. That would be the ideal scenario, because Sylveon is the one Mon that can annoy both Hydreigon and Terrakion until we get our boosts. So, yeah, I kind of like that.
Yeah, and Noctowl's not dying to anything from a Sylveon. So even if we miss a Hurricane, there's a chance we can go for another one.
So the only thing that I'm wondering is if we want to add a little more bulk to either Hydreigon or Terrakion so that we can set up easier.
I don't think we need it on Hydreigon because it's not our final sweeper.
I would agree with that.
Terrakion is tough because we need the speed and we want it to break, which means having the attack is a good thing.
And we're kind of hoping to lure Weezing. Right? We're kind of hoping to lure Weezing, which means we don't really need bulk to do that. It's more the Lum.
Yeah. Because if we don't run offensive investment, even with max attack, we're still gonna 2-hit KO Weezing after it.
Yeah.
And if we don't run that investment, we may not.
Yeah. I'm good keeping that. I think that's okay. Yeah, so pretty much we're going to be trying to set up a Terrakion sweep, and we'll do whatever we can with our other mons to make that happen. So we pretty much just need to weaken down the Jirachi a little bit, though +2 should knock out Jirachi, I think. Sylveon needs to be weakened down. Weezing is kind of our fodder, but we'll need a little bit of chip damage on Weezing to ensure that it's in range of a +2 Stone Edge, I imagine. But yeah, that's I think that's going to be the game plan. I'm okay with that if you are, I think.
Yeah, the only mons I can take at +2 Stone Edge are Weezing and Delmise and Gastrodon.
Yeah, I think we should be able to play to that. So yeah, I think I'm good with it. And I just realized I was clicking my mouse a lot really close to my microphone, so I'm sorry if that was annoying for anybody. But yeah, I think this is going to be the team that we're going to roll with here for our game this week. So make sure to go check out that game coming out tomorrow. And yeah, of course, check out our opponents' channels. Check out their side of the team builder as well as their side of the battle whenever that comes up tomorrow. And yeah, just let us know in the comments what you thought about the team. And yep, that's about all I have. You got anything else to say, Goldoa?
Noctowl the GOAT.
Noctowl the GOAT. It's going to do big things. I feel it.
It's coming.
It's coming. It's time. All right, guys. We will see you all tomorrow. Have a good one.
Take care, everybody.
Peace.